Welcome to your session on Qigong for spring allergies. So this is a phenomenon of liver qi stagnation, causing the energy to rise up and then interact with some other syndromes in the body we can talk about later. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove stagnation. So this is one example. The dragon stretches its claws. I'm using the shoe sound, even though that's been edited out. And you can use any of the moves. Go back and watch that video on the main meridian syndromes to get an idea of what addresses what, but anything that's going to help with that liver qi stagnation, which is going to be the root of this challenge. Then we're going to move into descending the energy. So it's the stagnation, but then it's the uprising that causes the red eyes, that causes the sneezing, some of the irritability that comes with allergies. So we have again that gallbladder 21 point. And remember, don't do this one for pregnancy. There are some other points that you might use, such as those at the base of the skull, which you'll see next here. And this is gallbladder 20, which is a master point for dispelling wind invasions. And it's even used for if you catch a cold or a flu. This is another type of wind invasion that allergies are also in the same family of. And for that, you can always go back and watch the Qigong for autumn, which has Qigong exercises for wind invasion and some other point combinations that you might think of. Then continuing with the dispersing, another great example of dispersing downward is the 10 dragons rushing through the forest. And this one is obviously useful again for headaches. That's one of the big uses, but if you have this energy of the wood element coming up and afflicting those upper orifices, making you sneeze, making your eyes water, this is one to do, to just send that energy downward. The idea, this is a protocol for spring allergies because the idea is that you get them in spring because that wood element is out of balance and so the energy rises up. Now, of course, there's science about pollen counts and such things, but my own experience has been that this traditional knowledge and that modern knowledge actually do really well together. If you protect yourself against pollen, you get fewer allergies. For me, if I protect myself against cats, but also I find if I do my Qigong, I have a little more tolerance against known allergens. And so I am definitely a Qigong convert in that regard. Then once you've done the descending, we are going to get into a tonifying section. And this actually gets at the root of these allergies. So the liver qi stagnation is part of it, making the energy rise up. But the root is actually said to be often a type of deficiency in any allergies. In Chinese medicine, your defensive energy is like a shield around you that protects you from invading pathogenic forces. And one of the main theories of allergies is if that defensive energy is weak, it gets a little overreactive. It's like, oh, it has to be on guard and defensive against anything that might be a threat. And so this little pollen comes in, this little dog hair comes in, whatever it is, and the immune system goes wild. So this is based on deficiency. So here you see one example is this pulling up qi to the kidneys and to the dantian. That front area I'm calling dantian is also a point called qi hai, means ocean of energy, and that tonifies the kidney yang, which is said to be the base of the immune field in the body, the Wei Qi field. But it also tonifies the spleen energy, which is one of your primary sources of all the qi in the body. So we're building the kidneys, which are the source of all the yang. They're a storehouse of qi. And then we're tonifying the spleen, which is the source, they would say the source of the the post-heaven qi. Edit that out of your mind. The post-heaven qi, meaning the qi that you extract from food and sustenance. The last thing that this one will do is it helps to anchor the energy down. So this exercise will also tonify the kidney yin a bit. It'll tonify the liver blood by tonifying the spleen. Watch that last video. And you can also see the turning here. This one is also just another way to tonify, and it tonifies this belt channel. One side benefit is the belt channel helps energy move down as well if it's functioning properly, because it forms like a connection between the upper body and the lower body. That's just sort of a side note. This isn't my go-to tonifier for this, but it is a tonifying exercise. So if you like it, if you're moved toward it, feel free to use that one. So tonifying the spleen and the kidneys, and the lower dantian becomes an anchor. So we've got the yin from the kidneys, keeping that liver from rising up too much. We've got the blood from the spleen, keeping that liver from rising up too much, making sure that we don't have internal wind aggravating that external wind. And then the main thing this is doing is it's tonifying the wei qi, or the immune system energy in the body. Okay, that's all I have to say on these exercises, but in case you're practicing long, I'm going to let this play through because you'll want to do equal on each side. Then included in this video, I'm also going to review the acupoints. So the first one coming up is that liver 3 acupoint. It's between the big toe and the second toe. And we're using that crane finger to work this. Now you would work it longer than we've got in the video, but this is your main point for relieving liver qi stagnation. And you might find you get relief from your allergies right away, because it also brings energy down in the body. So go back, work that longer, but also here's spleen 6. And in this case, you can see the pressure is a little slower. And the idea is you have an intention of tonifying, and this is to work that spleen meridian in order to tonify it so that you have an abundance of post-heaven qi, and as well you get a little yin and blood benefit from that particular point. Okay, and then these last exercises are included. You don't have to do this in this order. These are just examples, but they're the primary examples in our sequences that we learned. This is the rubbing while breathing light to the spleen. So in this case, you would inhale that golden qi. On the exhale, you see the organ glowing with a golden light. And just once again, this is the idea that the spleen is the root of the post-heaven qi, and when you're experiencing allergies, it's often, according to Chinese medicine, this reactive phenomenon. The body says, oh, I'm not strong enough to defend myself, and so it overdoes it. So golden light to the spleen, and the rubbing is just tonifying those acupoints and giving you sort of a somatic anchor. And then we also have the rubbing of the kidneys, and this is with breathing the blue light into the kidneys. So you would be inhaling, and a blue light comes in. And on the exhale, it gets brighter, and you feel and imagine those kidneys are tonifying up. We rub the whole back, mostly because the area of the kidneys is kind of hard to reach and kind of small, but also because the whole back is said to be the palace of the kidneys, according to Chinese medicine. So all these acupoints help to tonify that system. And once again, this is the root of the body's yin and yang. And so warming this area with massage, actually, it said the kidney yang is like a pilot light for that spleen energy, so it can cook the food and make nourishment. And then the kidney yin, like we said, anchors the liver. Now this last one you don't need to do for this protocol, which is the tonifying the liver, but just a reminder, this is for that liver blood and yin deficiency. You would be breathing in that green light. Again, it's not really part of this protocol, unless you feel that part of the issue is a liver yin and blood deficiency causing things to rise up in that way. So this is your basic allergy protocol. It took 10 minutes to talk through, but you can do something like this in 5 minutes. You've got the basic ideas. There are other qi scattering, stagnation relieving postures. Use the ones that suit you the best, and happy practicing.